4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good Thursday morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. We find ourselves at 5 o'clock. I'm Michael Haislip. Temps a little cooler today than it has been earlier this week, but still going to see some 40s and 50s on the board. There's a live look at the Skywatch Storm Tracker. We'll see a little bit of cloud cover moving in from the north. We will have clouds building throughout the course of our day. Temperatures anywhere from 28 in Independence to a pair of 34s. Run through Miami and Grove. We'll go 31 right now in Lamar. From the Freeman Health System Sky Camera in Joplin, 31 degrees. Only feels though like 25. Is a little bit chilly out there. How about dropping down to 18 for a wind chill in Independence, and then 19 in both Nevada and in Stockton. But have no fear, because we're still going to be able to make it up, as I said, into the high 40s, low 50s. Next shot for rain coming on Friday there. Nothing severe, but a little bit more widespread, certainly, than what we experienced earlier this week. Cruising into the weekend. Saturday's looking beautiful. Up into the 60s there with partly sunny skies. Then we got some rain that's going to kick in Saturday night and take us into Sunday. A little bit cooler, about similar to what we're going to have today. Police released new details in a death investigation where a man was found dead inside a Joplin house after it caught on fire. Joplin police yesterday identified the victim as 60-year-old Neil Fiscus. 911 call for the fire came in around 4. Joplin Fire and Police responding and found Fiscus dead inside the home on South Galena Street. Investigators have scheduled an autopsy for Friday. The Cherokee County Sheriff says 2 Joplin men drowned in a southeast Kansas strip pit. Authorities began searching for the men identified as Robert Sleep and Stephen LeMasters from Joplin when they did not return from a fishing trip. Sheriff's Department says they found them around 1 yesterday morning. Authorities believe they fell through ice at the strip pit and drowned. U.S. Senator Jerry Moran from Kansas introducing legislation that would allow college athletes to sign endorsement deals. The bill would also increase medical coverage that many of the wealthiest athletic departments have to provide for their athletes. Now, if Senator Moran's bill passes, athletes would be able to hire representation and sign endorsement deals. Athletes would not be allowed to endorse products during or immediately before and after team events. Schools, conferences, and the NCAA would also be allowed to prohibit athletes from signing endorsement deals that go against an organization's student code of conduct. Starting next week, students at Joplin High School will be back in person full-time. It's a decision students and parents have differing opinions upon. Freshman Livy Riddle says like it's too soon to make the change. She says she and her twin sister Lauren had COVID in November and had a very tough time with it, so she wishes the district had waited to make the move until next school year, since there's only 6 weeks or so left in the school. High school principal says he feels confident they can keep everyone safe.
With the low rate right now that we have, and the mandatory masking and keeping things clean, that we feel confident that we can keep kids safe.
Principal Gilbreth says the school district's going to keep a close eye on the numbers, and if it starts to spike, they will go back to the hybrid schedule. Gilbreth also says they may be able to make concessions for students and parents who are not comfortable with the plan, but that will be on a case-by-case basis. Officials in McDonald County, Missouri say they had extra COVID-19 vaccines, so they administered some to people outside of the county. The county's emergency management director says the state allocated 2,000 vaccines to MACCO, so they expanded distribution to all qualifying Missouri residents. People were allowed to show up without an appointment to the ballpark near Industrial Avenue in Anderson.
And so the health department's been calling folks now for about 2 weeks, getting these appointments all scheduled. So the biggest challenge is, getting that done. I mean, here, this location, we've had some of the areas that had so much water that we've got mud, but we've overcame that and everything's working great.
Any Missouri resident at least 65 years old or adults with underlying conditions were eligible for the vaccine. A Farmington, Missouri father furious after he says a daycare left his 3-year-old daughter outside in freezing temperatures. Now he's turning to state officials for answers. Robert Townsend with the story.
Rage, anger, sadness, hurt. That's how Matt Bishop is feeling. It's after he says on Friday afternoon his 3-year-old daughter, Avery Rose, was left outside First Steps Daycare in Farmington in below freezing temperatures for about 15 minutes.
I feel guilty that I trusted him with my little girl.
Bishop says a parent was driving away from the daycare when she saw his daughter standing alone on the center's side porch. The woman took this cell phone picture of the little girl. The mom declined to talk to us and asked us to not disclose her name.
A staff member let her in. She said, "There's a little girl locked outside in the cold, no jacket on. She's sitting there crying." They're like, "What are you talking about?" They had no clue. Then they rush over and unlock the door and let her in.
Holding back tears, Bishop calls the parent his daughter's lifesaver.
Had it not been, like I said, for that parent and God putting her there to where she could pay close enough attention, our daughter wouldn't be here today.
The disappointed dad says an hour later, the daycare's director called his wife.
They apologized by saying, "Oh, I'm so sorry. This is terrible."
Bishop has since filed a report with Farmington Police and removed his daughter from the daycare.
How could a child walk out? How do you know that they're not missing?
First Steps Daycare has not responded to Bishop's allegations. Bishop says he plans to meet with the Missouri Department of Social Services today. Rolling up on 5:07. Let's go ahead and take a look at our weather trend for the next 24 hours. Increasing cloud cover throughout the afternoon. Highs in the high 40s, low 50s. Going to stay on the dry side today. That will change, however, on Friday. We'll see the first smattering of rain down to the south, really through northwest Arkansas right there. But now that's for tonight into the morning. However, Friday, watch how it pushes up from the southwest and it begins to clip us for the afternoon and nighttime hours before it pushes out on Saturday. Saturday is going to be absolutely gorgeous. Going to roll mid-60s. And the rain really doesn't kick back in there until Saturday night. It takes us into Sunday. A little bit of a cold front on the back end of that, but kind of seasonable. Temperatures in the 50s, not too bad to close out January. That is a look at this morning's top stories and weather in our first 7 minutes. Coming up on the KOAM Morning News, another day of Pittsburgh State baseball taking on Minot State. We're going to have highlights from the game. FDA announcing emergency use for the Johnson & Johnson vaccine in the United States. And 2 bills in the Kansas legislature could change the legality of greyhound racing in the Sunflower State. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. More real news in the morning. We'll be right back. Pittsburgh State Gorillas off to a monster start to the baseball season. 2-0 with a total of 37 total runs in just 2 games. Yesterday, PSU aiming to keep the bats going, get to 3-0, taking on Minot State. Beavers will take the lead in the second. Tyler Wiltshire gaps one into left center. 1 run's going to come in. Minot State goes up 1-0. Zach Curry gets out of the inning, though. Swinging. Limits the damage to just 1. Third inning, Gorillas get something going at the plate. Cruz Aranda, chopper to the left side, hustling all the way down the line. Beats the throw to first base. That allows Garrett McGowan to come in and score. Game's tied at 1. Pitt State grabs its first lead when Ryan Koval, Oppo, 1 hopper off the wall. Aranda scores. Gorillas hold the lead, and they are now 3-0 as they beat Minot State 4-2. McCully girls have a chance to move on to the district championship last night, hosting Rich Hill in the Class 1 District 7 semifinals. Warriors getting hot at right the time. Winners of 9 of their last 11. But a good start for Rich Hill. Tigers open on a 6-0 run. Up 10-3 now when McCully gets it going late in the quarter. Chloe Williamson, back-to-back putbacks, and just like that, Warriors lead 14-12 after 1 quarter. Williamson with a great first half. Shooter's touch. Yeah, it is. Gets the 3 to roll home. McCully gets going after that. Kennedy Doré to Lily Black. Nice pass. Right before the half. Kaylee Teeter. Nobody stops the ball. That's what happens. McCully with an 11-point lead at the half, and now on to the district championship as they beat Rich Hill 53-45. College Heights girls also looking to move on to a district championship up against Wheaton. It's Class 2 District 12 semis. Grace Bishop puts in 18. College Heights wins it 49-35. Cougars will face Greenfield for the Class II District 2 title.
That's what we've been working towards all season, so we're excited to be back. We know we got a tough matchup with Greenfield on Friday, but again, this is what we've been working for. We had, I think, an 11-day layoff with the snow that came in. We hadn't played for 11 days, only had a few practices in there, so I was a little concerned about that tonight, but I thought overall the girls did well.
Chautauqua High School senior Braylee Conrad is about to finish up her senior season with the Hornets. She has made history and left her mark in her final year of the program. Our own Danny Terzer has Braylee's story.
Braylee Conrad is leaving her mark on Chautauqua High School as the first female to reach 1,000 career points.
It's a very big accomplishment to me. Hopefully it influences my teammates to maybe want to achieve that goal one day.
You see everywhere, all these people, these schools having people do it, and we finally had one in our program, somebody to excel at that level to be able to get 1,000.
The senior passed the impressive mark in a moment she recalls vividly.
I kind of wanted to hit it at home, but hitting it no matter what was exciting. It was kind of a thriller moment for me. I think it was a thriller moment for my team too.
A three-pointer sealed the deal.
I had like 2 seconds left. I heard the crowd yell, throw it, so I threw it up and it went in.
Conrad is the leading scorer for the Hornets and is averaging about 16.5 points per game.
She's very talented. She works at it and she wants to get better every day, and she's not afraid to ask questions, so it's been a blessing to coach somebody like her.
Conrad leads by example.
The girls do follow her, and just the wealth of knowledge of the game helps a lot because she can be the extension of me on the court.
The milestone was well-deserved and hard-earned.
Every aspect of the game she works to get better so she can achieve those goals.
It has helped make her senior season extra special.
My mom also printed off pictures of people who couldn't make it and put them in the stands for me, so I kind of felt like I had a crowd watching me.
Soon, her name will be added to the banner, the first female player to achieve the feat. In Chautauqua, Danny Terzer, KOAM Sports.
Braylee and the Chautauqua Hornets face off with Meridocene Valley in the first round of Sub-State tonight at tips at 6 o'clock. Big day for Pittsburgh High School senior Sarah Stebbins, signing her letter of intent to continue her track and field career at McPherson College. Stebbins going to run the 100, 400, and 600-meter hurdles for the Bulldogs. 600 hurdles. That's something that Sarah says she's excited for the chance to keep running after high school.
I always thought that this wasn't going to be an opportunity for me, so it was really awesome to know that it was, because I love running, I love track. I have since I did it in 7th grade, and so I'm really excited for the years to come. Congratulations to Sarah, the entire Stebbins family, and by the way, that was one interesting shirt that her dad had on there. Still to come on the KOAM Morning News, one of the most talked about court hearings.
El Chapo's wife makes her first appearance in federal court on drug trafficking charges. I'm David Spunt in Washington. The story coming up.
And to check on our 7-day forecast when the KOAM Morning News returns. Minute past 5:17. Roll some weather on the 7th. Check out our weather almanac for this Thursday, February 25th. All-time record high dates back to 1981. Where it got up to 75 degrees. Now, for the month and the year precipitation, we're actually just a little bit ahead of our annual norm since January 1. At the same point in time, luckily, we're behind last year's historic rates from 2020. Still waiting on a little sunlight there to come out from the KOAM sky camera outside the mothership. Back-to-back days of abnormally warm temperatures right there. Actually, 3 consecutive days. Of course, that's just from our high from today. I thought this was interesting. The 73 and 60 helped move us above the freezing mark for our February average high. Before we had those 2 days, we were actually sitting at an average high of 31.5. That's as good as we had at that point in time. 30 in Parsons. Let's scroll 30s in both Carthage and Monette. 32 in Pittsburgh. Live look from the Freeman Health System sky camera in Joplin, where we sit just below the freezing mark, 31 degrees. Let's talk about what the old wind's doing as it no longer comes in due north, kind of from the northeast right now, and eventually going to shift to the east, but still picking up some gusts close to 20 miles per hour there in Grove. So puts a little chill in the air. We've got down as low as 18 for a wind chill in Independence, 19 in Nevada and Stockton, Feels about like 30, however, down south in Commerce. For the bus stop forecast, increasing cloud cover to go along with our wind. Still able to make it close to 40 degrees there by the 9 a.m. hour. Skywatch Storm Tracker saying clear. A little light snow out there in western Kansas. It's not going to affect us at all. Right? With that system you see coming out of Colorado right there, that's the front eastern edge of that, but it's going to break up before it gets to us. We'll actually see most of it move up to the north right there. That's because the color contour and the temperatures going to push back to the northwest here by the time we get into the afternoon hours. Weather trend, pretty seasonable, high 40s, low 50s. Certainly nothing to worry about as far as our precipitation goes. For Thursday night, everything stays down to the south throughout portions of northwest Arkansas right there. But now, as we work through Friday afternoon, we begin to see a little bit of that southwesterly flow come up, take a little bit portion there of southwest Missouri. Should say drier the more west that you live. 7-day forecast, delightful Saturday in store. How about all the way up into the mid-60s. Got a little rain that wants to kick in Saturday night and take us into Sunday, and then temperatures pretty seasonable as we head into next week. Closing out February, hard to believe. Time now to turn our attention to the KOM News Now Facebook page. Dog racing is currently illegal in 41 states, and while live dog racing has stopped in Kansas, the sport is still technically legal in the Sunflower State. Now, there's two bills in the state legislature under consideration that could change that. One, House Bill 2199, covers sports wagering in the state as a whole, but chapters of the Humane Society argue it could indirectly open the door for dog racing to return. Senate Bill 262 directly addresses the possibility of dog racing return. If passed, it would make racing greyhounds and any wagering on greyhound races illegal in the entire state of Kansas. Our question to you, how do you feel about greyhound racing and should it be legal? You can let us know on the Facebook page or take part in our Insta poll. Go to KOMNewsNow.com/vote. Be back with Health Watch next. Topping Health Watch this morning, a new development in the war on COVID-19 as the FDA announces a third coronavirus vaccine meets requirements to be authorized for emergency use in the U.S. That leaves just one more hurdle to clear before it would be available. Mandy Gaither with the details.
It's another step closer to a third COVID-19 vaccine in the U.S. In a new analysis, the FDA says there were no specific safety concerns identified in the one-dose Johnson & Johnson vaccine, paving the way for recommending authorization during an advisory committee meeting set for Friday.
If an EUA is issued, we anticipate allocating 3 to 4 million doses of Johnson & Johnson vaccine next week.
The Johnson & Johnson vaccine is different than the others now on the U.S. market. It doesn't have to be frozen and is made by taking a small amount of genetic material that codes for a piece of coronavirus and integrating it with an altered, weakened version of a common cold virus, allowing it to enter cells but not replicate itself and make people sick. The immune system will then react against these pieces of the coronavirus, offering protection for those who get the shot. The FDA analysis shows this vaccine has a lower efficacy than the others, nearly 67% effective against moderate to severe COVID-19 at least 2 weeks after the shot.
What is the goal of the vaccine? To prevent you from getting really sick, needing hospitalizations and death, and this vaccine seems to work pretty well in that regard.
For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
A fourth COVID-19 vaccine could become available in the U.S. in April. That's when AstraZeneca hopes to secure FDA emergency use authorization of its vaccine. People who suffer with depression and anxiety may develop Alzheimer's disease at a younger age. Research from the American Academy of Neurology shows if patients develop Alzheimer's, those with depression may start having symptoms 2 years earlier than those without depression. And for those with anxiety, could be as much as 3 years earlier. More research that allergy seasons last longer and start earlier because of climate change. German researchers looked at pollen monitoring stations to see how pollen travels. They found some species of pollen have moved the start of the season up to 2 days a year and done so for more than 30 years. That's a look at some of today's top health stories. You're watching the KOM Morning News as we take a look at our weather trend that's going to have increasing cloud cover and put us up into the high 40s, low 50s. Should be a delightful day as we stay on the dry side. Next shot for rain is actually going to come tomorrow. If you watch the bottom of your screen there, get through Thursday night okay. But then Friday afternoon, we begin to see it move up from I-44 right there in southwest Missouri. Temperatures going to be in the 60s, though, on Saturday. Be back with more KOM Morning News right after this.
State's most watched news starts now.
Good Thursday morning. Welcome to the KOM Morning News. It is 5:30. I'm Michael Hayslip. A little bit cooler today than what it has been earlier this week, but then again, we were spoiled for Tuesday and Wednesday. Still going to be able to make it up into the high 40s, low 50s. Some increasing cloud cover developing just for the central and northern portion of the four states. Staying dry, though. All the precipitation actually on the west side of Wichita for the most part, so we don't have any worries about that. Temperatures ranging anywhere from the high 20s to mid 30s. We see Miami and Grove bumping up to around 34 right now. Everybody else kind of right at, if not a little bit below the freezing mark. 31 degrees from the Freeman Health System sky camera in Joplin. There's an updated photo for you. 25 degrees is what we've got for a wind chill right now. We have seen a couple teens up there. Still got Nevada and Stockton rolling wind chills of 19. Everybody else kind of mid-20s for the most part. Like I said, it is a little chilly when you step outside. Let's roll sunrise at 6:54 on the old bus stop forecast. Northeast breeze, 10 to 15 miles per hour. But temperatures are getting much, much better now that the cold front's headed back toward the Canadian border. High 40s, low 50s. Really no complaints, nothing to worry about for today. I see all the rain's going to stay through northwest central Arkansas. And then as we get into Friday, this is what we've got coming. Friday afternoon, you're going to see some rain push up from the southwest portion right there through southwest Missouri. Nothing widespread nor severe. And the farther west you live, the drier you're going to be. Beautiful Saturday. Mostly sunny skies, highs in the mid-60s, and some additional rain Saturday night into Sunday.
Police released new details in a death investigation where a man was found dead in a Joplin house fire. Joplin police yesterday afternoon identified the victim as 60-year-old Neil Fiskus. The 911 call for the fire came in around 4. Joplin Fire and Police responded and found Fiskus dead in the home on South Galena. Investigators have scheduled an autopsy for Friday. Cherokee County Sheriff says 2 Joplin men drowned in a southeast Kansas strip pit. Authorities began searching for the men identified as Robert Sleep and Stephen Lemasters from Joplin when they did not return from a fishing trip. The Sheriff's Office says they found them around 1 yesterday morning. Authorities believe they fell through ice at the strip pit and drowned. Well, some parents and students in Joplin are not happy with the decision to go back to full-time in-person learning. Tuesday, the Board of Education voted to bring students at the high school back to full-time in-class learning starting next week. The decision was based largely on the low number of cases in the area and in the schools, but some parents and students feel it's too soon and would rather finish out the year with the current schedule. Freshman Livy Riddle is one of them.
Who says that they're not going to rise up again? You know, it's a possibility, and it's really, really nerve-wracking, and I feel that we should be given options that are we should be able to go online, we should be able to switch what we want to do and what we feel is better for us.
During discussions at the board meeting, the high school principal said they might be able to make considerations for students who do not want to go back to in-person full-time. A Baxter Springs teacher didn't think a one-size-fits-all approach was helping her special education students, so she changed it with the help of the IXL Learning Program. And now that program is honoring her for her commitment to her students. Tina Gandy is one of IXL's Elite 100. She uses IXL in various ways to reinforce concepts, identify areas for reteaching, and ultimately personalize instruction for her students no matter where they are learning from.
They are the driving force of why I get up every morning. I love my kids. From 1995 when I started all the way to 2021, this is the whole reason why I get up in the morning.
The Elite 100 are selected from a pool of 700,000 teachers. Congratulations. Missouri Southern is getting a beautiful new addition to campus. It's not there yet. It's just dirt. But from that dirt will grow a new wildflower field. Once fully grown, it'll be more aesthetically pleasing. It'll also be used for student research, and the students will have a lot to learn from.
We've certainly got several species of milkweed in here that generally have kind of pink and purple flowers. We've got goldenrod with yellow flowers, a lot of black-eyed Susans, asters. We've got some purple.
Officials say it will also provide a source of sustenance for the bees in the university's beehives. Nice. Patterson Family Foundation is awarding Health Nevada with a more than $764,000 grant. The money will be used to, quote, create collective impact in the areas of rural mental health, obesity, and food insecurity.
On behalf of Patterson Family Foundation, we're looking forward to watching their programs and their projects over the next 3 years. And we hope to be able to share the insights, the learnings, and the best practices that Healthy Nevada gleans along the way so that we can pass those along to other rural communities seeking similar solutions in similar topic areas.
Healthy Nevada will implement 3 programs to address needs in the community. Those are trauma-informed school-based health program, the Farm to Family program, and a family-based behavioral treatment for childhood obesity program. That's a look at our top news stories coming up this half hour in the KOAM Morning News. An experiment with a robo-dog named Spot Gone Wrong. Plus, El Chapo's wife could be joining him behind bars if a federal court convicts her. We'll have the latest there. But first, it's 5:37.
The moon looks absolutely gorgeous right now. I'm going to try to swing the whole camera around and get us a shot of it. Meanwhile, 7-day forecast, temperatures in the 50s, even with increasing cloud cover. Next shot for rain coming Friday afternoon, more so for southwest Missouri. Farther west you go, the drier it's going to be. And then Saturday, partly sunny skies, all the way up into the 60s. Be back with more KOAM Morning News and World Watch right after this.
Topping World Watch, El Chapo's wife makes her first court appearance yesterday. Well, it's expected to be her first of many appearances following her arrest on drug charges. David Spunt has more.
The wife of drug kingpin Joaquin El Chapo Guzman could soon join her husband behind bars. 31-year-old Emma Coronella Espiro made her initial appearance via video conference in federal court Tuesday on drug trafficking charges. Authorities arrested her at Virginia's Dulles International Airport the day before. In court Tuesday, a judge ordered her to remain in custody. Prosecutors allege she was part of a conspiracy to import cocaine, methamphetamine, heroin, and marijuana into the United States. She's also accused of plotting to help her husband, Guzman, escape from a Mexican jail. Authorities say she delivered messages from El Chapo to drug associates outside of jail. For 25 years, El Chapo ran a cartel that funneled cocaine and other drugs into the United States. He escaped prison multiple times in Mexico before U.S. authorities took him into custody in January 2017. He was sentenced to life in prison plus 30 years in July 2019. Coronella Espiro regularly attended her husband's court hearings. She grew up around the illegal drug trade. Her father was arrested in 2013 on drug charges.
Coronella Espiro is a dual citizen of the United States and Mexico. If convicted, she could face life behind bars. A 44-pound shipment of cocaine-tainted cereal was intercepted earlier this month by U.S. Customs agents in Cincinnati. The shipment originated in Peru and was en route to Hong Kong when a canine discovered the cocaine-coated cornflakes at the port of Cincinnati. In a press release, CBP officials say the contents of the cereal included a white powder and grayish coating. After further testing, they confirmed that cereal contained cocaine instead of sugar. Officials say the cocaine inside the cereal had a street value of more than $2.8 million. A Van Gogh masterpiece makes a debut for the first time in public. The painting by Vincent van Gogh, titled A Street Scene in Montmartre, went on display Wednesday at Sotheby's auction house in Paris. The artwork has been in the private collection of a French family for more than a century. It was painted by Van Gogh in 1887. while he was living with his brother Theo in the French capital. Sotheby's says the painting is estimated to be worth between $6 and $8 million. Well, baby koala makes his first public appearance in Sydney. The Taronga Zoo's first koala, Joey, in over a year, finally came out of his mother's pouch on Wednesday. And this little guy's name is Humphrey. What a cute name. He's roughly 8 months old and is the youngest of his mother Willow's 5 Joeys. Zookeepers say he's been doing well. Humphrey was seen hanging on tight to his mother's back, which is one of the benchmarks for their development. Aww. That's a look at some of your biggest headlines from around the world. Let's toss it over to Michael for our Something to Talk About.
Thank you, Tanya. This morning on the KOAM News Now Facebook page and our morning Insta poll, dog racing currently illegal in 41 states. And while live dog racing has stopped in Kansas, the sport is still technically legal in the Sunflower State. Got 2 bills in the state legislature that are under consideration that could change that. One, House Bill 2199. It covers sports wagering in Kansas as a whole, but chapters of the Humane Society argue it could indirectly open the door for the sport's return. Then there's Senate Bill 262. That directly addresses the possibility of the return of dog racing, and if passed, it would make racing greyhounds and any wagering on greyhound races illegal in the entire state of Kansas. Our question to you is, how do you feel about greyhound racing? And we will begin our comments with Dave Pitts Sr. Dave says, if you got them, race them, just keep them off my lawn. Rocky Cunningham says, guess you could say I don't have a dog in the race. I really don't care, but it could boost the Kansas and local economy, Rocky says. Love ya, Aunt Pat. Roy D. Mercer, how big a boy are you? Ran my first 5K myself here recently. I didn't mean to. Thought the ice cream truck would have stopped a little sooner. Guy Hansen says, every greyhound lover in article I can find says that these dogs love to run at 45 miles per hour, faster than a racehorse, if treated humanely and lovingly. Guy asks, why not? Becky Mingarelli says, greyhounds were originally bred to hunt and love to run. I get that. But Becky says, anytime you add greedy humans plus money to the mix, it's just a bad idea. Michelle Pacini's in the club. She says, good morning, KOM and Mama. Good morning, Michelle. I personally enjoyed and think it should be brought back, but also the same people who helped shut the track down in Frontenac should help them reopen. Michelle says, no different than the casinos. Don't like it, don't go. People need to stop dictating what others do if they are not hurting anyone. Much like personally owned stores, don't like their beliefs, don't shop there. World just thinks America is the land of the free. Fact is, it's the farthest thing from it. Just saying. Michelle says, God bless everyone. Get out and enjoy. And I want to see if Tanya gets this reference here from Ashley Vickers. Yay, nay? Do my best Brad Pitt impersonation. Do you like dogs? Wonderful movie. Wonderful movie. Ashley, I love the illusion right there. And yeah, like I said, I didn't do Brad's character justice right there.
Give it one more shot.
Jag dogs.
There you go. That was closer.
A couple other lines from that movie I could go with, but this is family-friendly show. Great movie, though. Great movie. Insta poll this morning. How do you feel about greyhound racing? Right now, 77% say it should be illegal, and you can make your voice heard. Just go to KOAMnewsnow.com/vote. We'll be back with the news you need to know before you head out the door right after this.
Here's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door. There may soon be a new weapon in America's fight against COVID-19. The one-dose Johnson & Johnson vaccine could soon receive emergency use authorization. An FDA advisory committee meets tomorrow. The Biden administration says if approved, it will be in position to ship out 3 to 4 million doses of the J&J vaccine next week. Joplin police launch a death investigation after a body was found in a burned house. Joplin police yesterday afternoon identified the victim as 60-year-old Neil Ficus. The 911 call for the fire came in around 4. Joplin Fire and police responded and found Ficus dead in the home on South Galena. Investigators have scheduled an autopsy for Friday. Well, some parents and students in Joplin are not happy with the decision to go back to full-time in-person learning. Tuesday, the Board of Education voted to bring students at the high school back to full-time in-class learning starting next week. The decision was based largely on the low number of cases in the area and in the schools. But some parents and students feel it's too soon and would rather finish out the year with the current schedule. Officials in McDonald County, Missouri said they had extra COVID-19 vaccines, so they administered some to people outside of the county. The county's emergency management director says the state allocated them 2,000 vaccines, so they expanded distribution to all qualifying Missouri residents. People were allowed to show up without an appointment to the ballpark near Industrial Avenue in Anderson. Any Missouri resident at least 65 years old or adults with underlying health conditions were eligible. That's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door.
Chilly start with wind chills as low as 19 degrees, but we're still able to make it up into the high 40s today. Increasing cloud cover, staying on the dry side. That will change, however, for the central and eastern portions of the 4 states just in time for Friday evening. Going to be light rain, not going to amount to much, and then Saturday cruising up into the mid-60s with mostly sunny skies to begin, and then a little bit more widespread rain for Saturday night into Sunday. Of course, you can always find the latest on the Skywatch weather app.
The robotics company Boston Dynamics is condemning what it calls misuse of its RoboDog Spot. It says the metallic canine is meant to be a lover and a helper, not a fighter. But an internet collective that calls itself Mischief decided to arm Spot with a paintball gun and send him into a faux art gallery. Jeannie Moose reports it didn't go quite as planned.
It was billed as Spot's Rampage. Take a paintball gun, attach it to Spot the RoboDog, and let folks at home trigger it using their phones.
The way that a military person might pilot a drone.
The head of an art collective called Mischief wanted to show how a RoboDog could be sinister, not just lovable. The way Boston Dynamics portrays its $74,500 creation, so lovable, it tugs at our heartstrings when someone tugs on Spot's tail. To demonstrate its durability, so the art collective bought one and let viewers control him as he bumped into replicas of art objects like a drunken sailor at a Brooklyn art gallery. Viewers took turns shooting paintballs at the walls. Spot trampled an already broken statue in his most wanton display of destruction. His creators at Boston Dynamics were not happy. This art fundamentally misrepresents Spot and how it is being used to benefit our daily lives. The art collective says Boston Dynamics suggested they ditch the paintball gun and in exchange made an offer.
There are ways that we could sweeten that deal, and it could be like giving you 2 more of these robots.
Free! But in the end, the so-called war dog was his own casualty. Spot wound up sprawled on his side. He kept collapsing. Be right back, the live stream kept saying, but after about an hour, Spot no longer came back and they began running instant replays of his glory moment. Instead of this,
you'll just be able to wreak havoc.
Spot wreaked havoc on himself. Viewers kept trying to trigger paintballs, but Spot had painted himself into a corner on his side, twitching. Instead of Spot's rampage, it was Spot's whimper. See Spot drop.
Okay, first thing, if you want to make a dog look lovable, where are the puppy dog eyes? Michael, what do you think?
I was updating the Skywatch weather app.
I mean,
I usually pay attention during Jeannie Mo's stories because she's hilarious.
She did poke a lot of fun at it, but I kind of did feel sorry for the war dog at the end. I mean, Spot, but yeah, $75,000 dog.
I think I may have reverted back into weather mode as soon as you used the term robotic dog. Speaking of dogs, guess what's on the KOM News Now Facebook page this morning?
Ooh!
First off, if your morning routine involves Facebook, you can go to @MichaelHayslip. KOAM. It's the same forecast you can find on the Skywatch weather app that is downloadable for free on all your mobile devices. Now, Over to the dog comments, asking about greyhound racing this morning. John Trebian says, dogs love to run. Doggone it, let them run. Morning, KOM. Good morning, America. Good morning, John. Glenn Ritchie says, I don't understand why it's a problem. Yes, it should be legal. And Judy Clement, 40 to 50 years ago, Judy knew a guy who owned greyhounds and raced him. Saw how he cared for him, and it was good. Judy says, like all other sports, there were and are bad players. Yes, greyhounds love to run, but talk to someone who has adopted a retired greyhound to get a good idea on what this is like for the dogs. We'll continue to roll your comments. Be back with some more KOM morning news for you right after this. Going to be able to make it up into the high 40s, and that's not too bad considering we've got wind chills that were as low as 18 earlier this morning. Has some developing cloud cover, but we're going to stay on the dry side. Let's go ahead and pop open the Skywatch Storm Tracker, see exactly what we're talking about with our clouds when we put the old satellite in motion right there, kind of central to northern part. All the precip are going to stay out to the far west. It's not going to head our way. Actually, won't even get to Wichita really before it dodges up to the north. 7-day forecast, delightful looking Saturday. Could pick a little Friday evening rain and Saturday. How about mid-60s and sunshine before the rain kicks in for Saturday night into Sunday. Be back right after this.
State's most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's 6 a.m. I'm Tanya Bach. The temps will be a little cooler today than it has been earlier this week, but, still in the high 40s right now. Here's Michael with a check on your forecast.
Not going to be too bad. Actually quite seasonable. A little cloud cover up for the central northern portion of the 4 states. Staying on the dry side. Do see some, even some snow out here. That's the far western Kansas. They can deal with that. That thing's going to take off to the northeast. You're not going to pay us any attention. Temperatures right now pretty much right around the freezing mark from the Freeman Health System sky camera in Joplin where we sit. At 31 degrees, we'll factor in that little north-northeast breeze right there, and you've got a minus 6-degree difference between the temperature and the wind chill. Independence, our lone community, still hanging on in the teens. Nice little rebound here in Nevada and Stockton, now feeling like 24. They were down to 18 earlier this morning, and it feels like 24 as well. In Commerce, for the bus stop forecast, we will roll sunrise at 6:54, have a little increasing cloud cover by the time we get into the mid-morning hours, but still pressing up close to 40 degrees there for 9 a.m. So recess, not going to be too bad. That's that storm system I was talking about that we saw a little bit of snow coming through western Kansas. Majority of it still hanging there in Colorado, but it's going to move about like that in our cooler temperatures. Back toward the Canadian border for the most part for today and keep the thunderstorm activity right along that line. And since we're not going to get too warm, we won't have to worry about that. Future Track's going to throw some rain down here through central Arkansas for tonight into Friday morning, but really going to be about Friday afternoon and evening that we begin to see ours come up out of Oklahoma right there and give us just a little bit, mostly for the eastern edge of southwest Missouri. The farther west that you stay, you're going to stay on the dry side. A little bit more widespread rain from Saturday night into Sunday, but look at this Saturday. Whoo! Mostly sunny skies, highs up into the mid-60s. Tanya?
I'll take a day in the 60s, close enough to 70. That'd be nice. Well, police released new details in a death investigation where a man was found dead in a Joplin house fire. Joplin police yesterday afternoon identified the victim as 60-year-old Neil Fiskus. The 911 call for the fire came in around 4. Joplin Fire and Police responded and found Fiskus dead in the home on South Galena. Investigators have scheduled an autopsy for Friday. Cherokee County Sheriff says 2 Joplin men drowned in a southeast Kansas strip pit. Authorities began searching for the men identified as Robert Sleep and Stephen LeMasters from Joplin when they did not return from a fishing trip. The Sheriff's office says they found them around 1 yesterday morning. Authorities believe they fell through ice at the strip pit and drowned. Starting next week, students at Joplin High School will be back in person full-time, a decision students and parents have differing opinions on. KOAM's Zach Dodge spoke with one student who feels like it's not the right time.
Being a freshman in high school right now can be really tough.
It's been really rough.
On top of everything else that comes with being a freshman, Livy Riddle and her sister Lauren have had to adjust to learning on Joplin School District's hybrid AP schedule.
It was really hard to adjust at first because, you couldn't see your friends if you didn't have a last name that was after K. And as for learning, it got better over just getting the routine worked out.
But now another change is coming. On Tuesday, the school board decided to bring all students at the high school back to in-person learning full-time. The decision was made largely because of the low number of COVID cases in the school and community.
It had always been, if we can get it under that 1% or below of positivity either among staff or students, then we would return. And just recently, we've hit that.
High school principal Stephen Gilbreth says the high school is the last building to go back to full-time in person, and all of the other schools have continued to have low numbers. But some parents and students, like Riddle, are afraid to see what happens once they put 2,000 students in the same building again.
Who says that they're not going to rise up again? You know, it's a possibility, and it's really, really nerve-wracking.
She wishes the district had waited to make the change until next year, since there's only a few weeks left in school. But now that the decision is made, she thinks students should be given a choice.
I personally want to go online because I am very nervous about going back to school.
With the low rate right now that we have, and the mandatory masking and keeping things clean, that we feel confident that we can keep kids safe.
In Joplin, Zach Dodge, KOAM News.
Gilbreth says they will keep a close eye on the numbers, and if they start to spike, they'll go back to the hybrid schedule. He also says they might be able to make concessions for students and parents who are not comfortable with the plan, but that will be on a case-by-case basis. The Patterson Family Foundation is awarding Health Nevada with a more than $764,000 grant. The money will be used to, quote, create collective impact in the areas of rural mental health, obesity, and food insecurity. Healthy Nevada will implement 3 programs to address needs in the community. Those are Trauma-Informed School-Based Health Program, the Farm-to-Family Program, and a Family-Based Behavioral Treatment for Childhood Obesity Program. Wyandotte Nation announced yesterday the criteria to receive vaccinations at the Bearskin Healthcare and Wellness Center in Wyandotte, Oklahoma. Eastern Shawnee and Wyandotte Nation citizens and their spouses ages 18 and older are eligible for vaccines, as well as Wyandotte community members 55 and older. Tribal citizens and community members who are not active patients at Bearskin will need to present their tribal membership card, driver's license, and insurance. An appointment is required. A veterinary hospital in Oklahoma is calling this 6-legged puppy a miracle. Her name is Skipper, and she has 2 pelvic areas, urinary tracts, reproductive regions, and tails. She's just a few days old. But Neal Veterinary Hospital says on Facebook it's highly unusual for a puppy like her to survive this long. The hospital says Skipper's condition is the result of a fertilized egg trying to split, but not fully separating. Cute little guy.
Increasing cloud cover today. Still able to make it up into the high 40s. A little chilly this morning, however. Wind chills have dipped down into the teens. Overnight, stay on the dry side. Next shot for rain really not popping up until we get into Friday evening, and really so on the eastern portion of southwest Missouri.
That's a look at this morning's top stories and weather in our first 7 minutes. Coming up on the KOAM Morning News, we're going to take you inside a new Legoland opening up in the Northeast. Plus, a rural town in Missouri held its first mass vaccination clinic. And our own Jesse Irwin breaks a state bill down that could change greyhound racing in Kansas. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. More real news in the morning. We'll be right back. In Money Watch this morning, New York is allowing theme parks to start operating with limited capacity this spring. For most places, that will mean reopening. But a park north of New York City will be opening its doors for the first time. Ben Nandy has this preview of Legoland and how it might help nearby businesses.
David Seligman, the owner of Sweet Time Sweet Shop in Goshen, tells me he's ready for an influx of new customers once Legoland New York opens down the road. He expects large orders, ice cream, chocolate, items from the nostalgia rack.
Because somebody's going to look and say, I haven't had bitter honey since I was 12 years old. I'm expanding what we actually make because it's going to be a different type of person coming here.
But when?
Our site is really starting to look like a theme park. We're super excited.
Legoland spokesman Matt Besterman tells me rides are being tested and employees are being recruited for jobs that start immediately. The governor just announced theme parks like Legoland can open at 33% capacity beginning on April 9th. So will Legoland open on April 9th?
We don't have an opening date to share just yet.
Besterman says to expect the announcement in the coming weeks. He says people who bought passes are going to be contacted soon about when they can finally come check out the 7 lands within Legoland.
You can see behind me, we're kind of snow covered at the moment, but it's as we hopefully the nice weather we're having today is kind of a sign of things to come. So we'll keep it moving forward, and we can't wait to show this off.
Legoland executives say the park is pre-selling passes online. They say they'll keep ticket sales virtual for now to avoid crowds at the entry. COVID-19 pandemic hasn't eased its grip on the cruise industry. 2 major cruise lines, Carnival and Disney, announced all trips through May are canceled. Disney has also paused its international sailing through at least August. No word yet on when cruising operations from U.S. ports will resume. Both companies are offering customers of halted cruises a choice between a future adventure or a full refund. GameStop is still on the go. The retailer's stock was at nearly $92 a share at Wednesday's market close. That's a 104% hike from the day before. Trading was halted twice before major increases were reported. Wednesday's surge comes a few weeks after a major trading frenzy sparked by individual retail investors who felt GameStop was undervalued. Some investors also wanted to needle hedge funds who were waiting GameStop's demise. GameStop recently announced its chief financial officer is stepping down next month in order to help accelerate GameStop's transformation. Dunkin' is showing the matcha love. The chain says it's adding donuts topped with the trendy tea powder to its menu starting today. The glazed donuts are sprinkled with matcha powder for what Dunkin' calls a, quote, enticing green tea flavor that gives a unique twist. Dunkin' is also offering blueberry matcha lattes. Interesting. That's it for Money Watch. We'll be right back.
Let's bust out our old weather almanac as we approach 6:17 on this Thursday morning. 1981 is our record. Got all the way up to 75 degrees on February 25th. I want to talk about our precipitation really fast because for the year, go back to January 1, we're about 0.3 of an inch above where we'd normally be. But at the same point in time, we're 2 inches below where we were at this point in the year 2020. And oh, what a year it was. Skies beginning to lighten outside of Television City. Should be a gorgeous sunrise as far as our daily temperatures go. Just wanted to point out our February average high finally got above the freezing mark. I know 33.5 is not that impressive, but we actually needed these 3 days to get us above 31.5. That's where we stood in the middle of this week. Speaking of, temperatures right at about 31, 32 degrees right now from the Freeman Health System Sky Camera. Give this a couple more shots and it'll begin to lighten up as well. Do have a wind chill in effect. Only 25 degrees is what it feels like as we see it shift there from the north now to the northeast and eventually just straight from the east by the time we get to tonight. But that does give us a little chill in the air. 19 is what it feels like in Independence, 25s in Webb City and in Carthage. Bus stop forecast, we'll have sunrise at 6:54. Really no worries for the kids other than to staying warm. And even with the increase in cloud cover, we're getting close to 40 degrees there by 9 a.m. All the precipitation staying off on the west side of Wichita right there, part of a storm system that is packing a little punch there on the other side of the Rockies in eastern Colorado and working through western Kansas. But this thing is going to jaunt off this way. It's not going to have any role in our Thursday weather as we will be able to make it up into the high 40s, if not though up a 50 every now and then. Clouds want to stick around there overnight, but as far as future track, the precipitation for today really going to stay through central Arkansas. Now, by the time we get into Friday evening, then we start to see a little bit kind of ride I-44 out of Oklahoma right there and give us some rain really throughout southwest Missouri. The farther west you go, the farther north you go. Looks like it's going to stay on the dry side. Beautiful Saturday in store. Look at this. Partly sunny skies. How about I do that? Partly sunny skies all the way up into the mid-60s. And then we get a little rain that formulates late Saturday night and carries us into Sunday. Now over to Jesse in Studio K.
Thanks, Michael. Well, you know, when it comes to online apparel business, I mean, there's a college mascot. Southeast Kansas has a thing for greyhounds. In fact, the state of Kansas is widely recognized in the greyhound world, particularly in greyhound racing.
I design and create apparel with greyhound motifs on them and sell them to people who race greyhounds and who adopt greyhounds.
For as long as she can remember, Susan Horner has loved greyhounds.
Well, I love the dogs. They're beautiful, sweet, mellow dogs. You'd think that they're, hyper because they do love to run.
After all, she lives in the right place.
Kansas is the heart of dog racing. There's just no other way of putting it.
This is Christine, another greyhound lover.
It has the most dogs bred for racing anywhere in the country. It is the home of the National Greyhound Association and even hosts the NGA Greyhound Hall of Fame.
A little background on this. Dog racing was legalized in 1986 under the Kansas Parimutuel Racing Act. Now, shortly after, 3 racetracks opened around the state, including Camptown Racing Track in Frontenac. By 1990, close to $250 million was being bet on live greyhound racing in the state of Kansas. But while the popularity of the sport grew, so did the concern for the well-being of the dogs. In 2001, Christine co-founded Grey 2K, an organization that spent the past 20 years lobbying to make dog racing illegal in the United States. Since then, tracks have closed around the country, and dog racing is currently illegal in 41 states. In Kansas, awareness sparked a 20-year downward trend in that amount spent on live greyhound racing, with all 3 tracks closing their doors by 2008.
It was kind of being phased out in Kansas because it was kind of right as I was coming on board with the Racing and Gaming Commission. It's just been a long time since we've had racing in Kansas.
But while the live dog racing has stopped, the sport is still technically legal in Kansas, and the Sunflower State remains one of the breeding grounds for the greyhound world.
These dogs are highly linked with opioids and steroids because the trainers, unfortunately, cheating is a big part of the races. And for the dogs to race and to win races, they've been found with these in their systems because it builds muscle mass and will make them run a few more races.
Recently, 2 bills, Kansas State Senate Bill 262 and State House Bill 2199, have been introduced within the last few weeks. House Bill 2199 covers sports wagering in the state as a whole. Leaders from state chapters of the Humane Society testified virtually in front of members of the State House last week, concerned that the bill indirectly opens the door for the sport's return.
If they want to do sports wagering on football games at casinos, anything like that, that's their own business. The only reason that us, other Kansas Humane Societies, and the United States Humane Society are getting involved because we see the loopholes that greyhound racing could come back.
Senate Bill 262, introduced shortly after, directly addresses that possibility. If passed, it would make racing greyhounds and any wagering on greyhound races illegal in the state of Kansas. While there's still more that needs to happen before a vote on either bill, it could come in the next few weeks. A pivotal moment for greyhound lovers on both sides of the conversation.
I understand where people are coming from with those concerns, but if they are really educated and really see what's happening, I think that they would be less concerned.
It's something we're going to fight for. There's a reason for it. We're going to be the voice for these voiceless.
You know, if racing does come back, I'm sure we'll have a lot of work to do.
Well, we did reach out to the owner of Camptown and some legislators as well. We have not heard back yet from them, but if we do, we'll let you know. And meanwhile, our morning talker this morning, our Insta poll question is surrounding greyhound racing. We're asking, how do you feel about it? And so far, the results are looking like people feel it should be illegal, 70%, and 30% of people saying it should be legal. Keep on voting. Go to KOAMNewsNow.com/vote. We'll continue to run it through the morning. We'll be right back on the KOAM Morning News right after this.
Topping Health Watch this morning, the small town of Leopold, Missouri held its first mass COVID-19 vaccination clinic. Officials say it's important people in rural towns get the vaccine too. And as Elena Chappie explains, the smaller communities could be even a good opportunity for people from bigger cities to find their shot.
Day for people to come and get their vaccination.
The sun is shining and people are rolling up their sleeves to get the COVID-19 vaccine at this mass vaccination site in Leopold.
We had about 2,000 doses when we started this morning.
And Bollinger County Health Department Administrator Juanita Welker says this opportunity is an important one.
This is a huge thing for Bollinger County to have that many doses come into our county. Seems like the rural areas are underserved sometimes.
Missouri National Guard members spent the day directing traffic and giving out the shots. Officer Drew Gallucci says they're doing their part to help stop the spread.
Statewide, this is a large effort, and so
Our team in particular is actually traveling throughout this region, so there are more than one opportunity to get this, but it is important.
Gallucci says by 11 this morning, they administered 250 shots out of the 1,950 available. And as traffic moves steadily throughout the morning, Welker says at 3 p.m. they made the vaccines available to anyone so that they wouldn't waste any shots.
We are encouraging anyone to come and get it so we can help stop the spread of COVID.
Welker says they are planning the clinic for the second dose and will notify everyone when they have that date.
With this county getting so many vaccines, it is drawing interest from people in places like St. Louis who are also trying to get the vaccine. The combined flu and COVID-19 vaccination is a future possibility. This is according to Wendy Barclay, British virologist and head of the Department of Infectious Disease at Imperial College in London. She told UK lawmakers on Wednesday that a combination is the most likely scenario, but we will have to wait at least until next year to know more about the epidemiology of the new coronavirus variants. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention has found masks may be key to stopping the spread of COVID-19 at exercise facilities. In recently published reports, researchers have linked the lack of masks at gyms to COVID-19 outbreaks. Over the course of a week in late August, 60% of people who attended in-person classes at a Chicago gym tested positive for COVID-19. Chicago and CDC researchers say the facility had temperature checks but did not require masks during exercise. Another study from Hawaii linked a fitness instructor to 21 COVID cases in July. The instructor led a maskless class for 10 people a few hours before experiencing symptoms. All participants ended up testing positive. That's a look at some of today's top health stories. You're watching the KOAM Morning News.
Skies starting to lighten up a little bit, and even with the increasing cloud cover, able to make it up into the high 40s, low 50s. Back right after this.
Authorities released the name of a man found dead in a Joplin house fire. Plus, 2 bills in the state legislature could open or close the door to greyhound racing in the state of Kansas. And Joplin High School starts full-time in-person class next week. Reaction from students and parents.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's 6:30. I'm Tanya Bach. The temps, they expect it'll be a little cooler today than it was the last few days, but hey, it's still going to be beautiful. Michael joins us with the first look at your forecast.
Yeah, you have to remember, we got spoiled there for a little bit because past 3 days, as you mentioned, we actually went 58, 70, 60. That's abnormally warm for the end of February. Today, yeah, just about on par where we should be. Gorgeous sight outside of Television City. Is that Irwin down there?
Is he on his car?
I don't know. If he's trying to make a getaway, well, I'll go grab him.
Get back here, Jesse.
Where are you going, Irwin?
We're not done yet.
I don't know. I'll find him. I'll track him down. Nice try. You getaway vehicle. Cloud cover developing up in the northeastern section of the 4 states. We're going to see some of this actually filter in. We'll have increasing clouds throughout the course of our Thursday right now. Just a little bit below for the freezing mark in most places from the Freeman Health System sky camera. Speaking of, right below the freezing mark, sitting at 31 degrees. Check the wind coming in from the north-northeast. And it does present us with some chills down in the teens and 18 in Independence. We did have 18s as well in Nevada and Stockton, so at least we're getting a little bit of a rebound. Feels like 25 in Neosho and 24 in Parsons. 6:54 is what will roll sunrise on the bus stop forecast. Kind of tempered this off a little bit. Thought we were going to get closer to 40, but it's just kind of been a slow increase in our temperature. So we'll go mid-30s about 9 o'clock. All the thunderstorm activity is going to stay along the dividing line between the colder temperatures and warm Gulf moisture. And this right here coming out of Colorado and western Kansas, it's going to move up to the northeast, really not going to play a role in our Thursday weather. Now for Thursday and Friday, you're going to see most of the rain stay down through central Arkansas. As we get into Friday evening, that's when we'll see a little bit jaunt up out of Oklahoma, kind of ride I-44, present us with some rain, more so in southwest Missouri for Friday night into Saturday. But Saturday's going to be great. We're talking about 65, mostly sunny to start. And then we pick up some Saturday night rain that'll carry us into Sunday. Tanya?
Michael. Well, police released new details in a death investigation where a man was found dead in a Joplin house fire. Joplin police yesterday afternoon identified the victim as 60-year-old Neil Fiskus. The 911 call for the fire came in around 4 on Tuesday. Joplin Fire and Police responded and found Fiskus dead in the home on South Galena. Investigators have scheduled an autopsy for Friday. Cherokee County Sheriff says 2 Joplin men drowned in a southeast Kansas strip pit. Authorities began searching for the men, identified as Robert Sleep and Stephen LeMasters from Joplin, when they didn't return from a fishing trip. The Sheriff's Office says they found them around 1 yesterday morning. Authorities believe they fell through the ice at the strip pit and drowned. Starting next week, students at Joplin High School will be back in person full-time, a decision students and parents have differing opinions on. Freshman Livy Riddle feels like it's too soon to make the change. She says she and her twin sister Lauren had COVID in November, and it was really a hard time. So she wishes the district had waited to make the move until the next school year, since there's only 6 weeks or so left in school. The high school principal says he feels confident they can keep everyone safe.
With the low rate right now that we have, and the mandatory masking and keeping things clean, that we feel confident that we can keep kids safe.
Gilbreth says they will keep a close eye on the numbers, and if they start to spike, they will go back to the hybrid schedule. He also says they might be able to make concessions for students and parents who are not comfortable with the plan. But that will be on a case-by-case basis. Missouri Southern is getting a beautiful new addition to campus. It's not there yet. Right now it's just dirt. But from that dirt will grow a new wildflower field. Once fully grown, it'll be more aesthetically pleasing. It'll also be used for student research. Officials say it'll also provide a source of sustenance for the bees in the university's beehives. While in jail, some inmates get really good at chess. It's true, and now they're putting that skill to the test. More than 100 inmates at the St. Louis County Justice Center are playing in the jail's first chess tournament. Steve Harris has their story.
On the 4th floor of the St. Louis County Justice Center, there's a battle taking place, a board battle between inmates, played out with chess pieces.
These guys, they good. That's what they do.
106 players signed up for the inmate chess tournament.
There's some good players in there.
As Justice watched. That's Justice Williams. He became the youngest African-American chess master in history at the age of 12. Today, he's overseeing the tournament he helped make happen.
We're trying to bring more faces into chess. So we got to get into the underrepresented communities in the jails. I mean, I haven't really heard of any chess-related activities within the jail, really. And as soon as I did, I was like, all right, we got to do this here.
2 floors up, 3 more matches. Every meticulous move mindfully motivated.
It's beautiful. Like, there's a lot of great players in here. Some people just move so confidently like they've been playing all their lives.
But it's more than just a chess tournament.
What we really trying to do is get these guys to journal how chess is helping them while in here.
Mario Reed is a correction officer who sees the benefits this brings.
It keeps them calm and give them something to look forward to. That's motivation. Keep their mind just occupied on something positive. That's what it does for them.
I think that's why this program is really important here.
The tournament's champion will play against Justice.
So the winner of all this, y'all gonna have to play this man right here.
But regardless of the outcome,
just being able to talk chess, talk life, talk anything, talk ideas with them is pretty cool.
That's pretty cool. Again, that was Steve Harris reporting. That's a look at our top news stories coming up this half hour on the KOAM Morning News. A new vaccine and possible stimulus bill.
We are inching closer to a potentially new single-dose vaccine. I'm Deborah Alfarone in Washington, with that as the House gets set to vote on the next COVID relief bill.
Plus, for something to talk about on the KOAM News Now Facebook page, we're asking, how do you feel about Greyhound racing? We let you weigh in, but first it's 6:37.
Got 17 minutes. Still, we get official sunrise over Joplin. High is going to make it up into the low 50s. We'll see high 40s, low 50s. Increasing cloud cover. Nice thing is we'll stay on the dry side. Got a chance to pick up some Rain Friday evening into Saturday, more so for the eastern part of southwest Missouri, but temperatures still pretty mild for the end of February. Be back with Nation Watch next.
Topping Nation Watch this morning. Today, President Biden will hold an event at the White House to commemorate the 50 millionth vaccine shot as Johnson & Johnson moves closer to having its single-dose vaccine become available. Over on Capitol Hill, Democrats are waiting to hear from a little-known rules official on if they will be able to include a minimum wage hike in the new relief bill, even without Republican votes. CBS's Deborah Alfarone is in Washington with the latest.
President Biden praised the bipartisan support for an executive order boosting America's supply chains amid the coronavirus pandemic.
It was like the old days. People actually are on the same page.
But Republicans have quickly turned the page, taking aim at the president's $1.9 trillion relief package.
Unfortunately, this bill is too costly, too corrupt, and too liberal.
GOP leaders say it's a job killer that doesn't do enough to reopen businesses and schools.
How much time do you have, Mr. President, to go through the litany of things in this bill that have nothing to do with COVID?
Included in this bill is a provision to hike the minimum wage to $15 an hour. Democrats need the Senate parliamentarian to approve, who's a nonpartisan interpreter of procedural rules. And that's if they want to pass this bill in its entirety without Republican support.
This rescue program is designed to put vaccine on the streets, emergency provisions across the board for schools, individuals, families, businesses.
On the vaccine front,
we anticipate allocating 3 to 4 million doses.
The Food and Drug Administration may approve Johnson & Johnson's single-dose vaccine in the coming days, boosting the nation's supply.
You want it to keep you out of the hospital, out of the intensive care unit, and to keep you from dying. Pfizer vaccine, the Moderna vaccine, and the Johnson & Johnson vaccine appear to do exactly that.
More than 20 million Americans have been fully vaccinated. Deborah Alfarone, CBS News, Washington.
Moderna says it has sent a new version of its COVID-19 vaccine to be tested at the National Institutes of Health. It's designed to target the variant first reported in South Africa. President Biden is opening the doors to immigrants former President Trump had banned during the pandemic. Trump's 2020 executive order blocked green cards unless recipients met the requirements for an exemption. He said he wanted to reserve jobs and healthcare access for citizens. The Migration Policy Institute estimates that affected about 26,000 people per month. President Biden is revoking that order, saying it harmed the U.S. He says it separated U.S. citizens from their families and caused employers to lose out on potential talent. Federal prosecutors have filed more charges against alleged rioters in the Capitol assault, and now about 275 people have been charged. Officials say it will take tens of millions of dollars to repair the Capitol. Let's look at today's top national stories. Let's check back in with Michael for our Something to Talk About.
Thank you, Tanya. On the KOM News Now Facebook page in our morning Insta poll, dog racing is currently illegal in 41 states. And while live dog racing is stopped in Kansas, the sport is still technically legal in the Sunflower State. You do have 2 bills in the legislature that are considering changing that. Our question to you, not only on Facebook, but our morning Insta poll, how do you feel about greyhound racing and its legality? We'll start off with Michael Talley. Michael asking, how about we make all sports betting legal? I don't know, Michael, we've been waiting. Earl Haas says it was tried before, and after some initial success, it failed miserably. Earl predicts the same result this time round. Bob and Linda Koch, I am in favor of it just as long as there are restrictions to make sure the dogs are properly cared for. Jason Smith, legal before, I didn't know it changed. None of the tracks seem to stay open long enough, though. And Jason, just to point out, it is still legal in Kansas, but you're right. We don't have any tracks open, and so you've got one House bill that's trying to limit what you can bet on, and then you've got another Senate bill that is trying to outlaw dog racing completely, make Kansas a 42nd state to make it completely illegal. On our Insta poll this morning, 72% of you say it should be illegal. Still got plenty of time to make your voice heard. Go to KOMNewsNow.com/vote. We're going to come back to celebrate birthdays and anniversaries next.
We take this time to honor today's 4-state hero. Sergeant Paul Cunningham, a member of the United States Army. He served from 2001 to 2003 in Iraq and Afghanistan. His hometown, Iola, Kansas. We are proud to salute Paul Cunningham, our 4th-state hero.
Why don't we begin with a big 1-year-old right there? Look at the smile on that kiddo's face. Why shouldn't you be smiling at Hudson Gabbert? You get to celebrate that big first birthday. Now, actually, just for technicality reasons, Hudson's 1 year and 1 day today.
Aww.
366 days up on the board for that big boy. He's in Moran.
I'm looking at him in the big close-up picture, and I think that's a little bit of drool on his chin.
That's
Makes
okay.
him even cuter.
You know what? You're allowed to when you won.
No, I love his smile. What a doll. Happy birthday, Hudson. Hope you had a wonderful day yesterday and today, too. Allie Frazier. Pretty spelling for Allie there. 5 years old for Allie in Carterville. Happy birthday.
Another great smile. Love it. Love it. Alexis Grieve. She is now turning 7. Speaking of great smiles, and oh yeah, I think somebody gets spoiled there, don't they, Alexis? I mean, she is turning 7 in Savinburg, and Alexis, I want you to know, special love from Mom, Dad, and Sis.
All right. Bailey Overman is turning 11 years old this year. It's all about the smiles today, Michael. Happy birthday to Bailey from Mom, Dad, and Sawyer.
And it's a number 12 for Caleb Merrick. Oh, I like the sign there, too. Happy birthday to you, Mr. Caleb, as he is a proud 6th grader in Mound Valley.
Would that be like a tractor pull thing, or?
I don't know if it's a tractor.
I don't know. I'm just curious what that is.
I think it's a cool sign.
Oh, I guess it works 6th grade. You did say that. All right. Happy birthday, Caleb.
Hey, we got a Carlskent birthday.
Yeah. Allie Carlskent is now a teenager officially. 13 years old for Allie in Pittsburgh. And as I understand, her sister Lily had a birthday on February 15th.
No, I remember doing Lil's just a little bit ago. How's Allie a teenager?
It's a month for the Carlskents.
Happy birthday, Allie. Bailey Monroe, a happy 18th birthday to you, Bailey. Now, she is a senior in Columbus. So, Bailey, number 1, congratulations on your upcoming graduation in advance, and a happy birthday to you as well.
All right. And we've got Kaylee Vanway, turning 18 years old in Carthage. Happy birthday to Kaylee. Love, Mom.
Audrey Green getting special birthday wishes from the entire family. What a great picture right there. Miss Audrey, won't you have a very, very happy birthday. Enjoy everybody that you're surrounded by there. She's in Pittsburgh.
All right, looks like she's got a fun
That's a
group
great
there.
picture.
And in Carl Junction.
Hold on, Kenny, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to blow that. It looks like Audrey is trying to take that selfie. And she's like, all right, everybody pile in. Or I wonder if Audrey was taking a selfie and everybody just piled in anyway.
She had a Chiefs hat on too, didn't she?
Uh-huh.
Yep, it was game time.
Now, Kenny, I apologize. I was not stealing your thunder.
Oh, we just got
Speaking
to look
of
at
cool
his picture
hats,
longer.
I have that same hat.
Oh, I think I've seen you in that hat.
I love that hat.
Kenny Haynes is 56 years old. A great picture there. Another great smile in Carl Junction.
I am told this is not the rock and roll singer, but I don't know if that's true or not. Happy birthday to Alice Cooper. Alice celebrating in Columbus. Cerelia Cooper is turning 72. Well, turned 72. Happy birthday to Cerelia in Chanute. And Maddox Johnson, now a teenager as well. The big 13 in the knack.
All right. And we've got Haley Skinner, turning 18 years old in Pittsburgh. Hope it's a great one for you, Haley. Madison Haggerty celebrating a birthday in Frontenac, and Richard Babb turns 43 down in Miami.
Happy birthday and happy anniversary to all. That's where you can send them into. Birthdays at KOAMTV.com. Or if you want to go to our website, KOAMNewsNow.com, just slash that and type birthdays, and it'll take you right to the page you need. Now, here's Tanya Bach with a very important birthday announcement.
Yep, we have this little thing called the KOAM Birthday Club, and you can become a member by going to our website and signing up. And once you do, you'll get special deals from local businesses. Go to KOAMNewsNow.com, sign up for the KOAM Birthday Club today.
Couple more comments to pass along. Philip Aaron says, I don't think dog tracks will reopen in Kansas anytime soon. Bailey Carmian says, take away racing, you'll bring extinction upon the breed. And she's not the only one that said that. We got a couple of comments that were like that. Fawn Fulton says, let them run for fun. No wagering, no competition. They just need space to dash and warm lap to lay on. Tony Hodge, against it, leaves dogs that can't cut it anymore with nowhere to go. I want to finish with Tony Stout. Meanwhile, in surrounding states, Tony says, they're selling marijuana. We're talking about how fast the dog is. Appreciate everybody's engagement this morning. Final look at the Instapoll. 75% of you saying it should be illegal. You can still vote. KOMNewsNow.com/vote. Tanya?
A check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door. There may soon be a new weapon in America's fight against COVID-19. The one-dose Johnson & Johnson vaccine could soon receive emergency use authorization. An FDA advisory committee meets tomorrow. The Biden administration says if approved, it will be in position to ship out 3 to 4 million doses of the J&J vaccine next week. Joplin police launch a death investigation after a body was found in a burned house. Joplin police yesterday afternoon identified the victim as 60-year-old Neil Fiskus. A 911 call for the fire came in around 4 on Tuesday. Joplin Fire and Police responded then and found Fiskus dead in the home on South Galena. Investigators have scheduled an autopsy for Friday. Some parents and students in Joplin are not happy with the decision to go back to full-time in-person learning. Tuesday, the Board of Education voted to bring students at the high school back to full-time in-class learning starting next week. The decision was based largely on the low number of cases in the area and in the schools. Some parents and students feel it's too soon and would rather finish out the year with the current schedule. Officials in McDonald County, Missouri say they had extra COVID-19 vaccines, so they administered some to people outside of the county. The county's emergency management director says the state allocated them 2,000 vaccines, so they expanded distribution to all qualifying Missouri residents. People were allowed to show up without an appointment to the ballpark near Industrial Avenue in Anderson. Any Missouri resident at least 65 years old or adults with underlying conditions were eligible. That's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door.
Start over the 4 states on this Thursday. Live look outside of Television City there where the sun creeps over the horizon. As a matter of fact, we are seconds away from official sunrise over Joplin, where we will push up into the high 40s, low 50s later on this afternoon. Don't need to really worry about any precipitation working in until we get into Friday night. More so on the eastern portion of southwest Missouri, and a beautiful beginning to our weekend. Partly sunny skies and highs in the mid-60s on Saturday.
All right. Well, we've got a lot more coming up on Fox 14 if you switch on over with us.
By the way, if anybody missed the Greyhound story that Jesse did, extremely interesting considering its background and its ties to the 4 states. Like I said, if you missed that, you can flip on over with us on Fox 14, or you can also find that on KOMNewsNow.com. My incomparable producer over here, Caden Milner, who likes to come in during this time of the show, would rather have you flip on over. Is that right? Yes. He's shaking his head violently, or nodding violently. I should say his mask almost fell off, as a matter of fact. Wraps it up for this Thursday edition. Want everybody to have a great, safe day. Get outside, enjoy some fresh air. We'll do this all again tomorrow morning.
And we're going to do it again today at noon.